Hello, everybody, and welcome to WCNC Charlotte's Off the Clock with Carboni podcast. I'm your host, WCNC Charlotte Sports Director Nick Carboni, here in my natural habitat right outside the Panthers practice facility. And we've got a great guest for you today. He's a current Carolina Panther, somebody that I think a lot of people are excited about heading into next season. That's linebacker Jermaine Carter Jr., who ran off a run of starts that he hadn't seen before in his career at the end of the 2020 season. And he hopes, and many fans hope, that he's answered a position of need for this Carolina team because they have so many, and that's there obviously at linebacker. Just a reminder, if you can hit follow, subscribe, whatever, on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, however you're watching or listening to this today. And also, of course, we've got all your sports coverage of the Panthers, the Hornets, and everything else on WCNC Charlotte every night. Personally, I'm on at 6 and 11 Monday through Friday. Ashley Stroline holds it down on the weekends. We've got it all covered for you. Here's our conversation with Jermaine Carter Jr. All right, Jermaine, I know that you take really good care of yourself, you eat the right stuff, but week one into the offseason, what is your go-to cheat meal? And is it somewhere you like in Charlotte?
My go-to cheat meal would probably be cheesecake. I like Cheesecake Factory. I really do like cheesecake, and probably a Del Frisco steak. You know, that's real good. But I'm not too picky.
Have you ordered this up yet? I mean, you're in week one of the off season.
Yeah, I've had cheesesteak and a Del Frisco steak since we've been off season. Yeah, I have.
Yeah, good for you, man. All right, what's your favorite play that you made from this season?
My favorite play that I made.
Yeah.
It would definitely be the big hit that I had, but unfortunately I got a taunting penalty.
We'll forget that. We'll edit that. We'll edit that out. The hit was great.
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, that was definitely my favorite play, but yeah, unfortunately I let the game get ahead of me. I got a taunting flag, so. But yeah, that would be my favorite play.
Well, we remember the hit more than the flag. All right, last one. Are the Hornets a playoff team this year?
Oh, I think it's real early to tell right now, but I think with the way LaMelo is balling, you put him in a starting lineup, it's just they're just gonna be even better than they are right now. You know, so the team is just going in an upward trend, and hopefully the Panthers can follow the same next season.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about the Hornets because it seems like you've kind of gravitated towards them. I know they sent you some stuff. Did the Wizards reciprocate? Are the Hornets your team now?
The Hornets, I have mad love for the Hornets now. Definitely that they sent me the jersey. You know, I've been to a couple games. You know, I've been able to go to games, and not even just Wizards games when they come to town. I just support the team. I just like basketball. I just like being around the sport. You know, so. That's what I like to do in my downtime. I like to go to NBA games. Well,
hopefully you can go to a few this year. I got to ask, naturally, does that come from hanging around Thomas Davis?
Nah, it's just I played basketball growing up, you know, so yeah. I was a huge Wizards fan growing up, huge Gilbert Arenas, John Wall. When we went to the playoffs, LeBron James whispering Gilbert Arenas' ear, all that. I was a huge fan. I've been a fan then when the Wizards were sorry, and I've been through the down days and the up days, you know. So I was always been a huge Wizards fan. So I grew up a basketball fan.
Well, hopefully MJ sends you he used to send Thomas, closets full of shoes. So hopefully you get the same treatment coming up here soon.
Yeah, I actually Michael Jordan's last season with the Wizards, I was real young, but I went to the game and I sat some nosebleed seats. It was this game against the Bulls when the Bulls came to town. So I was able to experience that, and that's one of, like I said, I've always been going to basketball games my whole life, so it's something that I can always tell people.
Have you seen MJ at a Hornets game? Because he does go when things are normal.
Yeah, I've seen him on the sideline a couple times.
What would you say to him if you actually got to meet him?
Honestly, I don't know. I'll probably be starstruck. I can't lie. That's fine. Michael Jordan, that's like, you know, as an athlete, that's what you aspire to be, like the greatest, and that's what he is, the greatest of all time.
Yeah, I think everybody gets starstruck no matter how many times they see him over there. All right, besides the Del Friscos and the cheesecake, what did week one of your off season look like?
A lot of video games, a lot of downtime with my girlfriend and my dogs. And just chilling, just relaxing, taking care of my body, just recovering from the season. And, that's just pretty much it.
I got to ask you about the nickname Peewee. I've read all about how you got the nickname. It was your older brother gave it to you when you were born, right?
Yep.
So is there ever a moment, because when your older brother nicknames you Peewee, like he's got that over you for a while. So was there ever a moment you didn't like being called Peewee by your older brother?
Honestly, when I was younger, I hated being called Peewee because when you think of Peewee, you think of like small, like a small person, So I always hated it at first, and then it just started to grow on me, and I just started to love it, and I just started to embrace it because it was who I was. My whole family called me that, and it's just something that stuck with me. They still call me that to this day.
So it's a good thing now.
You like it now.
Yeah.
So are you one of 5?
I'm one of. I have 4 brothers. I have an older brother. We have different fathers, and I have 3 younger brothers. We have different mothers.
And where do you fall like in the age order?
I'm my mom's youngest, so me and my older brother, we have my mom, and then I'm my dad's oldest. So I have 3 younger brothers with my stepmom.
So you're the youngest in one set, and then the oldest in the other.
So you get to play both roles a little bit.
Yeah.
Which one was better?
I would say the older role because it just made me naturally become more of a leader, because I had little brothers that was watching me and following in my footsteps, so that helped me along the way to become a better leader.
So you grew up in the D.C. area. What part exactly did you grow up in?
Northeast Washington, D.C.
Okay. And what was your first football memory? I mean, you obviously played a lot of sports growing up, but what was it? What was the first thing that comes to mind when you think back to your football days?
Oh man, my first football days. Well, the first thing I can remember is, I got kicked out of my very first football game. So the play was it was the other team. I can't remember if it was my team or the other team were running a touchdown, and I was just chasing behind the ball, and this little kid was tackling me, and then we just started fighting on the field, and that was probably my first football memory. I got kicked out of my very first football game.
All right, but you came back and you played a full game, so that got you going there. Couple different high schools it looks like you played at, but what was the recruiting process like for you? I know, you're one of those guys that kind of became an underdog story coming into Maryland and doing what you did. Was it frustrating to not get all the offers in the world like maybe some guys around you had, or do you think it ultimately led you to where you needed to be?
Ultimately, it led me where I needed to be, but at the time, I didn't understand it. I didn't see it because, like you said, my recruiting process, I didn't make all Met for Washington D.C. I didn't make all state or whatever you want to call it. Not first team, second team, honorable mention. I wasn't highly recruited, So all those things, they just helped me along the way. They just added fuel to the fire. And like you said, when I got to Maryland, I was a little underrated. And true story, my redshirt freshman year, I got on the field. The guy in front of me had got hurt, and it was my turn to go in. So I was the next person up. But it was early in the season, so coach looked at me on the sideline. He's like, nah, don't put him in, because they wanted to redshirt me. And at the time, I didn't know. So man, I was just mad. I was upset. So I just took it upon myself to use those practices my redshirt year. I use those as games, so I will practice real hard. My old coaches can tell you. The new coach at Maryland, Coach Loxley, he can tell you I would practice real hard. My redshirt freshman year, guys would hate practicing against me because I would treat the practice like it was a game. And I think that helped me along the way. It helped me because I continued to do that even when I became a starter. I practice hard all the time. So. It's been times where I've been told that I had to calm down in practice, sometimes, so that's just the nature of the game, and that's just how I play it, and that's just how I had to carry myself because, like you said, I've always had that chip on my shoulder, and I'm going to continue to have the chip on my shoulder.
Yeah, I mean, does that carry over to the NFL? I mean, especially when you're trying to kind of waiting in the wings a little bit your first few years, are you still that type of player at practice?
I'm definitely that type of player at practice. my rookie year, like I said, I had to be told to calm down and practice, you know, because I'm out there hitting guys like it's a game, like, you know, but I had to understand that like guys' careers are on the line, you know, and I had to understand that, and I'm doing a better job in practice now, you know, but I'm still trying to practice hard and do things the right way and do it a certain way, you know. So that's just how I just carry myself, you know. But as for the NFL, you know, as the same thing, I didn't get invited to any Senior Bowl, any All-Star game, no college All-Star games. I didn't get invited to the scouting combine, you know. So all I pretty much had was the pro day, and I trained my butt off for the pro day, and I think I did exceptionally well, you know. So, and that I did enough for me to get drafted here by the Panthers, you know. So, like I said, I've always got the chip on my shoulder, and I'm going to continue to have it. So, I don't even know how more to say about it.
Take me back to 2018 when you did get drafted by the Panthers. How much did they talk to you before? You know, what was that whole weekend like for you?
Well, the whole weekend, so the linebacker coach at the time, Steve Russ, he actually he worked me out for my pro days. So he was the one who actually came down. He sat down in the classroom with me, and I went down on the board. I think I had a good pro day, and I went on the board with teams, and I showed that I had knowledge of the game. And, you know, I think that helped me because, like I said, I didn't have the combine. I didn't have the Senior Bowl to impress these teams, you know. So that was my time to show them that I could move around, that I knew the game of football, you know. So, and I think that whole process, it was that whole day, man. It was just crazy because I was waiting to hear my name called, you know. In the 4th round, the Cowboys called me, and I thought I was getting drafted by the Cowboys in the 4th round, you know. But they were like, man, if you don't get drafted, we would love to have you. And I was like, man, like I was just getting like disappointed, And then the Cardinals did the same thing, you know. The Ravens did the same thing. The Chargers, you know. I had so many teams call me like, man, if you don't get drafted, even the Ravens, you know, you can be, if you don't get drafted, this can be like a big story, you know. You can come home, you can be, you know. And I'm just like, man, am I really gonna go undrafted, you know? And then it ended up getting a call from the Panthers, you know. I'm in the backyard throwing the football with my brothers, you know, and I'm not even watching the draft anymore because, like I said, I was like, man, at this point, if I go undrafted, I'm just gonna make the most out of my opportunity, you know. So that was my mindset, and I just stopped watching the draft altogether. And then I ended up getting the call, like I said, and it was just one of the best things that ever happened to me for real, you know. So I just thank God for it, and my family, you know, they were always there for me, and they believed in me, and you know, they were the ones that stuck by me.
What was the house like when you got the call?
Man, everybody was excited, you know, jumping for joy. My dad jumped on me, started crying. My mom crying, my stepmom crying, girlfriends same. You know, it was just everybody was just jumping for joy. Everybody was just jumping for joy, you know, because they all knew what I had been through, you know, with being overlooked, you know. And I feel like because I felt like I did produce well enough at Maryland, you know, to get those accolades, you know, the Senior Bowl, the combine, you know, and I felt like I was a linebacker that could be drafted, you know. So I just wanted the opportunity, like I said, and I knew once I got my foot in the door, I knew I was gonna be here to stay.
So you walk in the door and there's Thomas Davis, Luke Kuechly, and Shaq Thompson. So what did those guys? How did those guys treat you when you got here?
Well, I'll never forget, you know, because like I said, I've always watched football a lot. Man, I in college I would study film of Luke, you know, so it's crazy that I ended up getting drafted here. I would watch film, like watch his mannerisms on the field, like watch how he slip blocks, you know, some of those little things like that. I would do that, you know, and once I got drafted, he was the first person to text me, and so I'm just sitting on my couch. I'm like, wow, like Luke Kuechly just texted me, and I'm just like, man, I'm really about to be in the NFL, you know. But it's just crazy, you know. My first year, I didn't have any expectations of like really starting or anything. Well, actually, I did because, you know, was he suspended? He was here the first year, right?
That was 4 years, 4-game suspension. I'm pretty sure it was 18.
Yeah. So those first 4 games, I was like, man, I got a chance. I can go in there. I can go show the coaches I can do, and maybe I can play those first 4 games. You know, that's what I tried to do. But I played a little bit against the Giants, Unfortunately, I gave up a touchdown in that game, so didn't really see much more of the field on defense that year. But I didn't really have any expectations to play defense, because like you said, I had Shaq in front of me, Luke and Thomas, But that first year was just a huge learning opportunity for me. And I took that for that time to learn from those guys, study some film with them. Like I started the last 2 games when Shaq went down, and it gave me an opportunity to sit down and study film with Luke, and it helped me understand how to study myself, And even last year, he just helped me take it to a whole nother level, So I've been able to take my preparation to another level because of those things that they showed me, So I'm just always appreciative of that.
We always hear about like how Luke is with film and was as a player and is now in his role with the team. What, like, you guys have watched film since high school at least, so like what's different about the way he studies film and studies the position that you've picked up on?
Well, it's like little things, just watching certain cut-ups, watching breaking it down by day, like watching one thing on like Monday, like, oh, you can watch the third downs, or you can watch the first down, all the first downs on Mondays, or watch all the runs on Mondays, or something like that, But you don't. And when in high school, you, like you said, you will watch film, or in college, even sometimes you will watch it by cut up, but you won't actually break it down the way he would show you how, situationally, and tell you how he would do it, So. And at high school, you would just be there just watching it, just like, oh, okay, this is what they're doing, but not actually breaking down the situations and the different parts of the game, So I think, like I said, that helped me tremendously, and I was able to take that and add that to my game.
So 3 seasons, you get here, and it's like that whole group that went to the Super Bowl and went to the playoffs all the time, and Ron and Cam and Luke and TD, that group is trying to win in a certain window, and then it transitions. So what is it like as a player like yourself trying to navigate the league through all that, and then through, I don't remember any changes here that have swept the Panthers just like that. I mean, everybody kind of exiting and everybody new coming in.
Well, I think the biggest thing is my first year, the team was it was full of a lot of vets, And I think this year it was, and we were a lot younger, So I think that's probably the biggest difference, My first year I was playing with guys, like I said, like Luke, Thomas, Pep, I was on the field with Julius Peppers, and that's crazy to me, So I still can't believe that, So like I said, the team was just a lot older my first 2 years. This year we were a lot younger. But like I said, I think that's just the biggest difference. It's just, you just see how things can change up in the business so fast. So you just got to always be ready. Just for any situation, because like I said, you never know what could happen.
So Coach Rhule on Monday was asked if anybody surprised them. Like, who was his biggest surprise? And I'm not surprised that he said you, because the way you closed the season. But he also said that maybe the relationship didn't start great and now it's really good. Is that something that you feel too? I mean, what do you think that means?
Yeah, well, whatever happened in the past, it happened in the past, So I think we're like he said, we're moving on a good note. We finished the season on a good note. So that's all that matters. I think we ended the season on a good note. I think that's what we're moving on. We're moving forward. So whatever happened in the past happened in the past. I'm not really sure exactly what that meant, but whatever happened in the past happened in the past.
So besides getting more opportunity this year, what else was the difference that allowed you to have especially the back half of the season that you had? I mean, starting games probably helps, but what did you really elevate your game in terms of this year?
I think, man, I was just hungry. I was just hungry for the opportunity, and just sitting those first 10 games, it made me even more hungry for the opportunity. So it would be days where, man, early in the season we would play the game, we would get back home, and I would start watching film on the next team, because when I got on the field, I wanted to show that I could be out there, So I just always wanted to be prepared for that opportunity, So, and I think that's what I did. Like I said, every Sunday night I would come home and I'm just like, man, when I get out there, I'm going to show them that I can be out there, you know. So I would watch film, just study hard, and I would study throughout the week. And, you know, I think those study habits, you know, showed when I got on the field, you know, because I played with a lot of anticipation, you know, so, and a lot of instincts. So it's just something that I had to do, you know. It's like I said, it just made me real hungry.
Yeah, it seems like you have that hunger and that drive. What do you think that comes from?
Like I said, just my whole football career. It's just, man, I just always been overlooked. And it's not something that I'm just making up or just saying. Like every stage I've been overlooked, you know. And I think my dad helped me a lot, you know, because when I would play boys club, you know, so this is not hating on anybody, but like whoever the coaches would deem to be the best player, my dad would be like, you go after them. Like you go after them. You show them that he not the best, you know what I'm saying? Or even on the other team, you know, that's just the attitude that my dad instilled in me. And I just always had to carry that because like I said, I've always been the underdog, and this is not no feel good story or anything like that, but it's the truth. Like I said, I didn't make all Met nothing in high school. I didn't make no college all-star games, no combine or nothing. It's just everything. It's just facts, you know. So I've always had the ground for everything, you know. So that's just my mentality.
And how excited are you coming off the back end of the season that you had and really this defense had? I mean, you guys finished a lot higher than a lot of people thought you guys would. How excited are you to enter this next year?
I'm very excited, you know, because like you said, we finished the back half of the season playing well, you know, but we still got room for improvement, you know. But for myself, I just got to go into camp no matter, I don't know what's going to happen, what my situation is, you know. So I'm just preparing like I want to be the starter, you know, like I'm going to always prepare like I was day one, you know. So it's nothing going to change for me. I'm still going to have the same underdog attitude like I'm not the starter, and that's how I'm going to prepare.
All right, well, Jermaine, good luck this offseason, and I hope there's at least a few more rounds of steak and cheesecake before things get started in training camp.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
All right, would like to thank Jermaine once again for taking the time out. It's always a treat when we get current Carolina Panthers on the podcast, and look forward to see what he can do next year. Love that his favorite play was that hit for which he was penalized, but I mean, he just absolutely came up and smoked the guy. That was really good and important, I think, for fans and the coaching staff to see. Again, if you could subscribe, like, follow, however you're watching or listening, that would really help us out. Until next time, I'm Nick Carboni, and I hope you enjoyed the WCNC Charlotte's Off the Clock podcast.